numbers, or castling. Opening phase. The game opens with white pushing the king's pawn forward, aiming for control of the center. Black mirrors this move, leading to a symmetrical position. White develops the knight to the king's side, attacking black's central pawn. Black responds by developing the knight to defend the pawn. Instead of continuing with normal development, white decides to immediately capture the pawn in the center, which is a known line in the Petrov defense. This move invites black to chase away white's knight, which has ventured into enemy territory. Black pushes the d-pawn forward, attacking white's knight, which now has to retreat. However, white decides not to retreat, but instead to counterattack by moving the bishop to pin black's defending knight to the king. This move increases the tension in the center. Black, rather than defending the knight directly, pushes the d-pawn further, forcing white to either retreat the knight or initiate an exchange. White opts for the latter, capturing black's knight with the bishop. Black recaptures with the queen, maintaining the material balance but giving white the opportunity to trade pieces and simplify the position. White continues with this strategy, capturing black's remaining knight with the bishop, forcing black to recapture with the queen again. At this point, white has successfully removed both of black's knights and traded off one of their bishops, but black has maintained a strong central pawn structure and has the two bishops, which could become powerful as the game progresses. Middle game developments. Instead of continuing with development, white plays a quiet move on the king side, perhaps intending to prevent any future threats from black's pieces. This move, however, does not contribute to white's development and misses the chance to bring more pieces into the game. Black, on the other hand, makes a significant decision by advancing the h-pawn, planning an aggressive pawn push on the king side. This move signals black's intention to launch an attack against white's king. White attempts to bring the queen into play, moving it aggressively to the center to challenge black's queen. Black accepts the challenge, and the queens are exchanged. This trade leaves black with a slight initiative as it brings white's pawn structure closer to the center, but at the cost of activity and coordination. Black then develops the remaining bishop, placing it on a diagonal that controls important squares on the king side. White continues by castling, securing the king's safety, but black's pieces are already more active and better coordinated for an impending attack. Next, black brings the knight into play, aiming for key central squares and eyeing potential opportunities to attack white's kingside. White's rook is brought to the center, but this move is somewhat passive and does not challenge black's growing control over the game. Black now decides to launch a direct attack by sacrificing the knight, capturing a pawn, and threatening white's king. This sacrifice is a critical moment in the game. It exposes white's king and opens up lines for black's rooks and bishops to enter the fray. White responds by moving the rook to the second rank, but this move fails to adequately defend the king's position. Black continues to push the h-pawn, advancing it deep into white's territory. White tries to counter by pushing a pawn on the queen side, hoping to create some counterplay and open lines for the rooks. However, black's attack is already too strong. The h-pawn reaches the 7th rank, becoming a serious threat to white's king. Transition to the endgame. Realizing the danger, white tries to challenge black's knight with a pawn move, but black has already anticipated this and continues with the plan. Black sacrifices the knight again, this time forcing white to exchange the rook for the knight. This sacrifice clears the path for black's remaining pieces to invade white's position. Black's bishop then captures white's key defending pawn, and the attack intensifies. White's pieces are poorly coordinated and cannot mount a sufficient defense. Black's bishops and rooks start to dominate the board, with white's king left vulnerable. White tries to defend by developing the remaining pieces, but it's too late. Black captures another important pawn with the bishop, further weakening white's position. Black's rooks are now fully mobilized, and they control key files and ranks, cutting off white's king from the rest of the board. As white struggles to find a way out, black's rooks invade the back rank, creating multiple threats of checkmate. White's king is forced to move into an increasingly precarious position, with no real options for escape. Conclusion and checkmate. In a final, desperate attempt, white pushes another pawn on the queen side, trying to open lines and activate the remaining rook. However, black's pieces are already perfectly placed for a finishing blow. One of black's rooks moves into the perfect position, supported by the bishop, to deliver checkmate. With white's king completely trapped, black delivers the final move, bringing the game to a close with a checkmate. White's pieces, despite still being on the board, were unable to provide any effective defense against black's coordinated attack. In summary, black capitalized on white's passive play and orchestrated a powerful kingside attack. The key to black's success was the early pawn push and the bold knight sacrifices, which opened up white's position and allowed black's pieces to dominate. White's inability to develop quickly and respond to the growing threats led to a decisive and overwhelming victory for black.